Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurum Nilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Nama Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya De Satarine Namo Mahabadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam Pangum langhayate girim Yat kripa tamaham bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram Hare Krishna. I beg forgiveness that last Sunday class I was not present and we had to cancel it because there was some medical reasons. So in this way we can see that how we are all so much controlled by the material energy. But still we think that we are the controllers. Anyone who is little bit intelligent can, little bit not intelligent, it doesn't require intelligence to understand this. Anyone who is little bit introspective, that would be the right word. If anyone little bit is introspective, I don't know what do you call introspective behavior in Hindi? Atma Vishleshan. It looks like a colloquial Hindi. I don't know. People will maybe better understand introspective behavior than Atma Vishleshan. So all of you understand. So if one is little bit of introspective, one can understand that how neither our body is in our control. Wife and husband were never in our control. That was like from the day one of marriage we can understand. Before marriage it looks like everything will be nice. Everything, it's like, but after marriage yesterday one couple came to meet with me and then I was telling the husband that you spend some time with your wife. And then I was only telling, you see, before marriage, there is so much to talk. And after marriage, somehow there is a vacuum because there is nothing to talk. And this husband, he said, Ki Prabhuji, you are not married, but you know so much about married life. I said, yes, because I talk with so many of married couples. And the reason is because after marriage, after staying 1 or 2, 3 years, we come to know each other very nicely. And then there is nothing much remaining if one is not spiritual. In spirituality, there is so much stuff to talk. But otherwise, there is nothing so exciting to discuss. What did you eat? If he is alive, then he is definitely eating. So what's great about talking about it? So here we see last whatever we discussed in Chitraketu section. how Chitraketu is lamenting along with his wife that why my son passed away. And we were seeing how Chitraketu was actually cursing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we discussed elaborately that how in every situation, instead of becoming optimistic in that situation or becoming pessimistic in that situation, we should try to see that how every situation we can utilize it for coming closer to Krishna, whether it is a negative situation or a positive situation. That was basically the gist of what we discussed last class. Now Angira brings Narad Muni, and then both of them dress as mendicants, disguise themselves as mendicants, and they come to the court of Chitraketu Maharaj, who is lamenting, crying, along with his wife in front of the sun. Everyone, the ministers and the courtiers and the citizens, everyone is just witnessing, and they are also crying. And Srimad Bhagavatam Sukadeva Goswami describes how in this situation Angira and Narad Muni, they come dressed as mendicants. And Angira Rishi, he starts speaking. Angira Rishi speaks a very, very special verse, which is sometimes very difficult to understand. This is what we will discuss the first sloka today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Yatha prayanti samyanti.
Yatha prayanti samyanti.
Shrota vegena valukaha.
Shroto vegena baluka.
Samyujyante biyujyante.
Samyujyante viyujyante.
Tatha kalena dehina.
Tatha kalena dehina.
Yes, someone else. Yatha prayanti sanyanti. Shrota vegena baluka. Samyujyante biyujyante. Tatha kalena dehina. So the first thing Angira Rishi says that yatha, just like prayanti samyanti shrota vegena valuka. Prayanti and samyanti. All the balukas, the particles of straw and sand, srota vegena, by the power of the flow of the river, they sometimes come together. Prayanti, samyanti, they come together, and prayanti, they all disappear. If you have gone to the bank of a river, generally we go near Panihati, near the bank of the river, we find lot of particles. They sometimes come together and sometimes go away. So exactly in the same way, biyujyante samyujyante, the living entities are brought to come together to stay in a family atmosphere, and then they are separated by the power of time. So the son that was born to you came and became your son for some period of time, and now he is no more. So why you are lamenting? So the first principle to understand this world properly is to understand how these relationships, whatever we are seeing in this world, is just meant to make us experience or help us experience our own karma. Just like the power of the stream of rivers, they make actually the straws come together exactly in the same way. The power of time. There is, yesterday I was taking a class for all the youths, the boys and girls, and they had so much of questions, and we were discussing about the law of karma. And we were discussing how it's actually time, the Kala, the three modes of nature, Durga Devi, they have very, very serious algorithms. Serious algorithms. Now we are having cryptocurrencies, and for that we are having big data centers. I don't know how many of you know about all these things, but I know as a sannyasi. So, because I have to deal with people. So, big data centers, and then there is requirement of quantum computing, because I'm taking some classes for Princeton University students, so I'm getting to know all these details. So, big data centers, but we can simply imagine how big the algorithm and data centers would be of Durga Devi. I just discussed a sample, one life karmic reactions and actions, one life karmic reactions and actions of one living entity, and we made a table, and that itself was so difficult to understand for all people. And just imagine so many lifetimes, and all the reactions and actions, and who has to bear fruit with whom, and all these things, it's mind-boggling. And everything is stored in the data centers of Durga Devi. All of you who are all come for the class, including myself, everyone's data is fully secured. You cannot corrupt it. It's not like you can go to Durga Devi's data center and do some little bit of tampering and all those things, and Durga Devi puts Sri Nitai Das, and actually Sri Nitai Das side mein there is tag that criminal, and now Durga Devi puts Sri Nitai Das, and I have done some hacking and everything, and Mahabhagvat. And Durga Devi understands how overnight this living entity became a Mahabhagvat. He was a criminal yesterday. But Sri Nitai Das has done some hacking. So one can never do all these things. There is no hacking, and there is fully secure data. And with all the datas and the power of the time and the three modes, Durga Devi makes every one of us come together in some material relationships based on each one of our karma. Durga Devi makes one living entity the husband, the other living entity the wife, because the husband has taken lot of loans. That living entity has taken lot of loans from this person, and it has to go away. So the loan is being remitted, or the loan is taken care by becoming someone's husband, someone's wife, someone's son, someone's daughter. And as soon as the karmic reactions are over, either there is death or divorce. Sometimes we may think, oh, we are all working and together, we are family and all, and suddenly someone passes away. And we think, oh, why he passed away? This is so much of anyay, this is so much of injustice and all. But we understand we were living together because there was some karmic reactions involved. This all material relationships, whether one is husband or wife or father or a son or a daughter, these are all meant to experience our own karma. And as soon as our karma is over, the relationship is over. Because the relationship was never there. It was made just like the straws. There was no relationship between two straws, but it was made to happen srota vegena, by the power of the current of the river. So exactly in the same way, Angira Rishi is telling that, "O king, please try to understand. Don't lament piteously like this. The fact that you were relating as father of someone, it was simply a temporary situation. You had some karma. And based on that karma, for a particular period of time, you were deputed by the power of the time and the three modes as someone's father. And now since the karma is over, your karma is over, and that his karma is over, it's gone." Just imagine. It is very easy to speak, but it's very difficult to practice it in our life. It's a reality. It's a fact. And then Chitraketu, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that with this, Chitraketu Maharaj speaks out, "But yes, I fully understand that these are all temporary situations created to help me experience my own karma and help experience that small boy experience his own karma. But still, for a temporary period of time, I was his father. So what's wrong in lamenting?" Yes, I was his father for a temporary period of time. So what's wrong in lamenting? And then Angira Rishi speaks the next verse in answer, in reply to the question. Yatha dhana suvaidhana. Yes, anyone?
Yatha dhana suvaidhana.
Bhavanti na bhavanti cha.
Bhavanti na bhavanti cha.
Evam bhutani bhutesu.
Evam bhutani bhutesu.
Choditani shamayaya.
Choditani shamayaya.
Yatha dhana suvaidhana. Angira Rishi gives an example. That you are thinking that temporarily you are his father, but I will tell you. I will tell you the reason. I will tell you the explanation. Just like sometimes we take grains and we put it on the ground, some grains they become trees and some grains they don't become trees. Yes? Exactly in the same way, everyone wants to become a father, but sometimes some become father and mother and sometimes they remain childless. That means they are controlled fully by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you may say that you temporarily became father, but actually it was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because so many people, you even tried many times before to become father, you could not. And that time, because you were not a father, you were lamenting. And after that, you were rejoicing because you became a father. And now you are lamenting because your son is dead. But in all situations, it was never you who did anything. It was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. who actually created a situation where you are childless based on your karma, then created a situation so that you have a child based on your karma, and then created a situation that you lose your child based on your karma. So why you are lamenting? Because ultimately, if you do not have any control, then what's the point in wasting your time in lamentation? And with this, Chitraketu says, why the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so cruel? Does he not have a heart that he behaves like this? And then Angira Rishi says that he is not cruel. He is least interested in this material world. But because he loves us, that is why he does whatever he does. Now one may say, what kind of love is this? What kind of love is this that a husband is bereft of his wife? Sometimes the husband dies, the wife is alone. Sometimes the son dies, then the father is alone. Sometimes the son takes sannyas and the father is alone. What kind of love is this? Is this love? This is sadist behavior. You understand what is meaning of sadist? You put someone in a very uncomfortable, unpleasant, unpalatable situation and you make a fun out of it, entertain it. Just see how I have put Sri Nitai Das in such a situation and just see what is happening to him. So Chitraketu is telling the Lord actually behaves like a sadist. He is having so much of feeling. I think he doesn't have any emotions and feelings. What sort of Supreme Lord he is? And what kind of love is this? Angira Rishi and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they explain that how the Supreme Lord love is expressed in all situations. Sometimes we are very, very subjective in analyzing the love of Supreme. We are very subjective to our personal situation. But if we see a broader picture, then we'll understand that how the Supreme Lord loves everyone. So the first principle to understand love of Krishna, especially in adversities and in all situations, is to understand that the Supreme Lord not just loves me, he loves everyone universally. His love is universal. And because the love of Supreme is universal, that is why he wants to ensure a fair treatment with everyone. And that's how the karma is created. I have no right to exploit Udit Prabhu. Because Supreme Lord loves Sri Nitai Das, but that does not mean that Supreme Lord hates Udit Prabhu. He also loves Udit Prabhu. And if Sri Nitai Das creates any situation which is unpleasant for Udit Prabhu, then it is Supreme Lord's responsibility to give justice to Udit Prabhu. But because we see everything from a narrow perspective of only one life, we find Supreme Lord sadistic and illogical. If I have done something wrong to Udit Prabhu in this life, and in this life I didn't get those reactions back, and in the next life, Udit Prabhu comes as my boss. Comes as my boss. And then I have worked hard, and not hard, I have worked harder and hardest. And then he keeps on shouting at me. And he doesn't just shout at me, he stops my appraisal. I had planned a very, very wonderful trip to Simla along with my wife, and how romantic it was. And the leave was sanctioned, and the boss had sanctioned, and the last moment the boss calls that if you take this leave, then your job is gone. You are sacked from office. And Udit Prabhu comes to the home and says, we are not going to Simla, Pune. And then such a trauma. This is what the boss did, and this and that, so many things. But we don't remember what we did to the boss in the last life. If we'll remember those things, then we will feel compassionate on our boss ki, Arey, I did so much to him, and this life he is giving so less actually. If at all we can remember what nonsense we have done to others, when others, they do something wrong to us, then we will feel actually that I have got so less, I was supposed to get so much. So Supreme Lord loves everyone. And the universal court of justice, no one can be bribed. No Chief Justice, no judge can be bribed. It's completely clean and pure. And there is no democracy. The Supreme Lord personally appoints Yamaraj, and Yamaraj is generally a pure devotee of the Lord. Other demigods, they can be mixed devotees. Sometimes they can be bribed, but Yamaraj is generally a pure devotee. And if Lord is not able to find Yamaraj, a proper Yamaraj, then Lord sometimes himself expands and becomes Yamaraj. That's how a serious position is Yamaraj, the court of justice. And similarly, the very, very pramukh, the primary demigods, the very, very special position. If there are no qualified people, the Lord himself expands and becomes Indra, Surya, Soma, because they have a lot of power. Durga Devi herself is not a Jivatma. Durga Devi herself is material energy, expansion of Srimati Radharani. In case if Yamaraj creates some jhamela, then Durga Devi is there, who is the Bahiranga Sakti of the Supreme Lord. So in this way, the Supreme Lord has created a system where the justice is offered. And that system of justice is called the law of karma. So sometimes when wrong things happen to us, we keep on shouting, complaining, without even looking back in this life, in previous life, what all nonsense we have done. And when Angira speaks like this to Chitraketu Maharaj, he gets convinced. But then still he says that, okay, but still he is my son. Because he came out from my body. He came out from my wife's body. So Angira Rishi says, what came out from your wife's body and from your body is the body which is there. So your son is still there. Why you are then lamenting? Yes? Does it make sense? Logical? What came out from your body is the body. It's there. So then what is the lamenting? Where is the loss? Now the soul has passed away, Chitraketu Maharaj says. But the soul, you were never the father of soul. The father of soul is Krishna. So that the soul has passed away, what is the point of lamentation? And then Chitraketu Maharaj is logically checkmate. And with these logical explanations of detachment from the material relationships, material world, Chitraketu Maharaj finally, he wipes off his face, and Sukadeva Goswami says that he starts wiping off his face and becomes a little fresh and start appreciating these two mendicants who are giving him spiritual knowledge. And he appreciates how the only reason that the sadhus roam around in this world, they have already given up everything from this world. They are neither interested in anything of this world. But the only reason that the sadhus roam around in this world is to actually give or show compassion to attached people like us. Otherwise, why they would anyway come to kingdom, cities, meet all of us? They have their own relationship with Krishna. They are happy with that relationship. They can do their sadhana in their own places, in their own bhajan kutir. But the only reason that the sadhus come and stay in the cities, which is like such a horrible place, and Sapurji, I can see, my goodness, it's like really horrible, really horrible. It's beyond suffocation. Our two devotees are staying here. The only reason they're staying here is that Sri Nitai Das comes here. If one day I don't come here, then they will be back in Mayapur. It's like from Mayapur, it is like Mayapur. From Yoga Mayapur, it is like Maha Mayapur. And so difficult, so difficult. There are some people staying nearby and they have 2-3 dogs, and the dogs do whatever. You know, dogs are dogs. And it's not that they use the washroom, they use everything as everything is their washroom, everything is their place, and then they do that, and it so stings, and we can see that the service propensity is there. You can ask, you can call Lalit Madhav Prabhu, he will tell you, explain you how they religiously, with great fervent devotion, the lady in the other side cleans the stool of the dog with devotion. And when we call that lady that come and clean the temple of the Lord, clean the Vigraha of the Lord, do Abhishek of the Lord, not interested. Superstition, mythology. But cleaning the stool of the Lord, glorious. Chandan, agru, all fragrant substances will look insignificant in front of that stool of the dog. Yes. And, we are not able to stay in this flat because of the stool of the dog. And just imagine how much we cannot say they're suffering, but how much the fragrance would be strong in the other flat where they are staying. And they are such, with so much fervent devotion, they are seen cleaning and, oh my dog. And when we say, oh my Krishna, then they say, oh, this is superstition, superstition, superstition. And when they say, oh my dog, at least Krishna's, I will tell you God's stool. This is not an exaggeration. Srimad Bhagavatam says, this is just a little bit of side topic, but to understand that who is in a better situation, Sri Nitai Das or these couple. So, Srimad Bhagavatam says in the 5th canto that Lord Krishna came as Rishabdev to sow the principles of detachment. And in order to sow the principles of detachment, Rishabdev was so detached that he was not even going to the washroom. He was detached fully from all actions. Wherever he was, that was his washroom, that was his everything and whatever. He used to just be at one place. That's it. He will not do anything. He was so detached. But Sukadeva Goswami says that whatever was coming out from Rishabdev's body was emanating such sweet fragrance that 80 kilometer radius, people were thinking, from where this fragrance is coming, from where this fragrance is coming. This is God. Can anyone who claims today as God in this world, so many people nowadays are claiming, I am God, I am this, I am that. We feed them nice prasadam and next day we tell them that you don't use the washroom, you do whatever you want to do here only in the room. And we make all their disciples stay in that room. All the disciples are convinced also, my Gurudev is God. Okay, you let this thing happen, then you're God. And when we serve Krishna, people say it's sentimentalism. Chi, 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 chi. And when they serve the dogs with more devotion than, if any one of you who have today assembled for today's class, any one of you, I'm seriously telling, I'm not joking, I'm not exaggerating, any one of you sow a drop of the devotion like the lady in the other flat for what she is sowing to her dog, next day you will be in Golok Vrindavan. You will never stay here. Lalita Sakhi will personally come and do your arati and take you to Vrindavan Dham. That we are such unprecedented devotion has never been shown by anyone. That Lalita Sakhi will come down from the spiritual world to take you back to Vrindavan. And when we serve Krishna, we say it is sentimentalism, it is superstitious. So coming back to the topic, so the sadhus, they have no reason to stay in such horrible place with such horrible people who do not have any sense of sanity. But the only reason Chitraketu Maharaj says, Chitraketu Maharaj addresses himself as a Gramya Pasu, as a village dog or village animal. And the reason he is addressing himself as I did some analysis. Why a village animal? Why not a wild animal? Wild animal is more wild. But a village animal, he looks very clean. He looks very sophisticated. Like, so the village animal, like we have seen the cows in our Gosala. We clean them so often. The day we will clean, not forget about the day, we will clean them very meticulously with so much of soap and water at 8 o'clock in the morning. And by 10 o'clock, half of the cows will have spots of cow dung, they will have spots of mud, all their bodies will be filled with mud, and then they will be going. One cow will go and one bull, Subal, will go and just put like this, like this, like this, and make such horrible appearance. This is Gramya Pasu. The wild animals, no one bathes them, no one tries to clean them. But village animals, they look very nice externally, but internally they're still the animals. That's why Gramya Pasu, Chitraketu Maharaj addresses themselves that all these city dwellers and all of us who are staying here, we wear coat, suit and boot and all look so sophisticated, going to big companies, coming out of the car, but inside we are more horrible than the wild animals. Our tendency and attitude is simply like a pig, like a dog. And that's why Gramya Pasu. This is my personal analysis. You will not find it in Biswanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentaries. Some little bit of speculation is required to help you understand. But it's true, it's a fact. We find actually in this world, people are so sophisticated, but their heart is so unclean. And Chitraketu Maharaj glorifies Angira Rishi that you have come to save us. You have no reason to come and visit these horrible places and meet such horrible personalities like us, who are only stooped in materialistic life. But it is your compassion. Who are you? Who are you? Are you Narad? Are you Devala? Are you Asita? Are you Vyasa? Are you Chavana? Definitely you would be someone among them, because it's not possible to speak such amazing philosophy without having deep connection with the Supreme Lord. So this is the way. We have to understand that to function in this world, we need these relationships. We need our husband and wife. We need to show some affection to our husband and wife and children. But our affection to sadhus and guru, if it is more than whatever material affection we have towards our material families and relationships, then we'll be dragged to Sri Vrindavan Dham. Prasangam ajaram pasam. Devahuti was queen, the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. We cannot imagine the treasures and wealth of Swayambhuva Manu. It's beyond imagination. And she got married to Kardama. And Kardama was completely renunciate. He was not having a kutir also. And Devahuti was living in palace, and Devahuti was so beautiful that sometimes the Gandharvas and the demigods, they will fly in aeroplane, and Devahuti would be playing with some of her friends on the terrace, and the beauty of Devahuti will be so intoxicating that the demigods will fly down and their aeroplane will crash. That's what Sukadeva Goswami says. That's the power of, that's the, that's how Devahuti was beautiful. And that Devahuti got married to Kardama, and Sukadeva Goswami says in the third canto that Kardama didn't had a kutir also. He was just under a tree. And Devahuti started serving, and Kardama was just meditating. Years passed by, and Devahuti became so thin and shriveled and emaciated. And years after, Kardama opens the eyes and sees his wife so emaciated and says, Devahuti, what do you want? And Devahuti says, I want to go for a trip, a vacation. And Kardama does not book make my trip. Kardama Muni, by his yoga sakti, creates an entire flying city, not a flying bungalow, flying city, filled with so much of flowering plants, gardens, orchids, and then there were servants. And for 1,000 celestial years, Devahuti and Kardama, they lived in that city. And after 1,000 years of staying, Devahuti becomes pregnant, and Kardama says that now that you have become pregnant, your son will be born and he will take care of you. I am going. Hare Krishna. And then Lord Kapila Dev is born. Now one may say that why did Kardama did like this? For all those reasons, all your questions, we will see the third canto. We will take this section separately. But the point is, after so much of enjoyment and Devahuti in 1,000 celestial years matlab years of the demigods. 1 year in earthly planet is 1 day in demigod planet. So 365 days that is 365 days in celestial planet, that is 1 year in celestial planet is 365 into 365 days here. So that's 1 year there. And into 1,000 is that many number of days they enjoyed in that mansion, flying city. And when Kapila Dev is born, who is the incarnation of Supreme Lord, the first question Devahuti asks Kapila Dev, that there was no dearth of how much I enjoyed. No one even can imagine what enjoyment my husband gave to me. But still my heart is simply dissatisfied. Why I am dissatisfied? What can give me satisfaction? And then Kapila Dev speaks about what Angira Rishi has spoken just now to Chitraketu Maharaj. Kapila Dev says about detaching oneself from the material world. How the material world can never give us any happiness. And Devahuti then asks Kapila Dev, how it is possible for me to come out of this entanglement of material relationships and material world? And to this, Kapila Dev answers this beautiful sloka from Srimad Bhagavatam. Prasangam ajaram pasam atmano kabayo vidho saeva sadhu sukruto mokshadwaram apabritam. Prasangam ajaram pasam. Prasangam, this material attachment is prasangam, is extremely strong. Ajaram. Jara means old. Ajaram means it never becomes old. It never becomes weak. Pasam, strong. Atmano kabayo bidhu. It strongly entangles the living entity into this material world. Saeva. But that same attachment, saha eva, the same attachment, sadhu sukruto. If one establishes one's attachment to a sadhu, moksha dwaram apapritam, the door for liberation is opened. So Chitraketu Maharaj, when Angira and Narada came to him and started giving him knowledge of detachment, he didn't complain at what you are speaking. You are so heartless, and you are so cruel. You do not have any sentiments and emotions. I am put in such a lamentable situation, and you are simply speaking all this philosophy. Rather, Chitraketu Maharaj understands the glory of attachment to a sadhu. That's the only way we can get out of this material world. There is no other way. The only way to get out of this material world is to become attached to a sadhu. Saeva sadhu sukruto moksha dwaram apapritam. For us to get attached to Krishna is very, very difficult. Krishna is so far, we hardly interact with him. But if we can get some attachment to some sadhu, then our door to liberation is open. Otherwise, we'll be simply rotting in this world. And that's why Krishna actually brings in our life, arranges in our life sadhus to come in our life. But we need to have the submission like Chitraketu. We need to have that submissive attitude like Chitraketu Maharaj to understand sadhus as my well-wishers. When I was in second year of engineering, and there was one boy who had registered for Mayapur Yatra. But in the first year, if the boys register for Mayapur, and if the boys say to the parents that I am going to Mayapur, and parents will never allow. Say, Mayapur, what nonsense is this? What you will do there? I will do chanting of Hare Krishna. What Hare Krishna? This is nonsense. So generally we tell the boys that you cannot tell the truth and you cannot tell the lie. You tell the half truth, that we are going to Calcutta, and there is some software workshop by some of our seniors and something like that, and we conduct some software workshops in Calcutta. And then Calcutta and Mayapur are twin cities, and so it is truth and lie and both together, and we take them to Mayapur. So, because as sadhus we cannot tell them to tell lie, and as sadhus we cannot tell them to tell truth, because by telling truth their spiritual life is hampered, and by telling lie our spiritual life is hampered. So we try to make some adjustments like this. So I had told him that this and that will happen and all those things, and he was convinced. He told his parents and all those things, and then he everything was happening nice and everything was going nice, and they were in Calcutta and everything, and he was in Calcutta and he was supposed to go to Mayapur, and he was not supposed to say that he is in Mayapur. He was supposed to tell that he's still in Calcutta. That was the small thing he had to speak. But he said, I am in Mayapur, I am chanting and dancing, because he thought that I am experiencing so much of happiness in Mayapur, how much my parents would be happy when they hear that I am in Mayapur. That was his understanding. That was his illusion, maybe. And he said, I am in Mayapur, the spiritual world. The center of the universe. I am dancing and jumping. I am taking prasadam. When you are coming to Mayapur, you must come here. The parents, they didn't say anything. They came to Calcutta. And then they came to Mayapur. And then they took him back, saying that this is simply nonsense. Like this, Hare Krishna. So I was feeling that is the parents who are supposed to be guru. It's the parents' responsibility. Whose responsibility? I was thinking in a very crude language that time कि मैंने बच्चा पैदा किया क्या? तुमने बच्चा पैदा किया. तुम्हारा दायित्व है उसको भक्त बनाना. And if he doesn't learn all these things, in the 4 years of IIT stay, he will simply conduct liquor parties. And I am telling you, this boy conducted liquor parties at the end of 4th year. He was the main sponsor for the liquor party. And whatever karma he gets, his father will also get half of it. So, these material relationships are supposed to, we are all come together. It's our responsibility to inspire each other to become spiritual. And for that reason, we need some amount of humility. If a father sees that the son is becoming so Krishna conscious, the father should feel that it's my, it's the fortune of our family and life that this person has become so serious. Let me take his association and let me also become spiritual. If the husband sees the wife becoming so serious, the husband should think that I am so fortunate. I've got such a wife who's becoming serious. Let me take her association. Instead of thinking I am husband and I am the leader of the family and everything should rotate and revolve around me like this. If the wife sees that the husband becoming serious in spiritual life, the wife should think, how glorious is my husband. I had got so many husbands in so many lifetimes, but somehow this husband has become a devotee. Let me take shelter of this person and become Krishna conscious. So we can see such a striking difference. Chitraketu was also stooped in material illusion, correct? He is also behaving like all of us. Most of us behave like Chitraketu. But the reason Chitraketu Maharaj's name is in Srimad Bhagavatam is that he became surrendered to the sadhus. He considered sadhus as his well-wishers. So it's not important whether we are put in a very materialistic illusion or how much entangled we are. What important it is that how much we are becoming surrendered to truthful sadhus in our life. That's the way we will come out of illusion. At least we should have little faith that this sadhu is a much better well-wisher than my own mind and senses and intelligence. And Krishna arranges in everyone's life. I was just thinking that this boy, such a great fortune, he came to Mayapur. And he was stolen away. And now he's conducting liquor parties and doing all nonsense. So similarly, Krishna will, for every living entity, Krishna has a plan. How to ensure that this living entity meets a sadhu, genuine sadhu. But if the living entity has an attitude like Chitraketu, then moksha dwaram apavrita. But if the living entity has an attitude like this father, then tamodvaram, the door for hell will open. So there are sadhus, genuine sadhus. If we pray sincerely, then Krishna will show us the path. Krishna will make us, put us in such association that in this very life, we will go to Vrindavan Dham. So this Dasosmi family is an attempt to create genuine sadhus and genuine well-wishers of everyone, where we all inspire each other to become serious spiritual practitioners. We cannot live without a family. We cannot live without a family. But if we get attached to a spiritual family, then it is so easy to get detached from our material family. So this Dasosmi family is an attempt to create a very, very spiritual family and atmosphere to help us easily get detached from this materialistic entanglement, which is simply entangling us from millions and millions of lifetimes. All of us are sadhus, provided we follow Sukadeva Goswami, who is the sadhu for Kali Yuga, who has spoken Srimad Bhagavatam. So let us follow and read Srimad Bhagavatam, understanding that by reading Srimad Bhagavatam we are associating with Sukadeva Goswami. We are associating with the entire Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, because Srila Prabhupada has compiled all the commentaries of our Gaudiya Vaishnavas in his translations. We are associating with Krishna himself, because Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. And Saeva Sadhu Sukruto. And with that association, Moksha Dwaram Apavritam, the door for liberation will open. Let's seriously, sincerely help each other to get attached to each other on a spiritual level. Call each other and discuss about Krishna. Interact with each other and help each other to enhance one's understanding about Krishna. And in that way, our relationship will become so spiritual. Instead of just my family, my husband, my wife, and my children, finished, my life is completed. If we just stay in this mentality in Dasosmi family, we'll get another family next life. But if we understand that my family is this Dasosmi family, and my small family, husband, wife and children, are just a subset of the bigger Dasosmi family. Udit Prabhu's son is my son. And Prisha is also my daughter. And Pavan Prabhu's marriage is also my marriage. And Madhav going to school is my son going to school. And Kushal Bihari Prabhu sneezing in the class is my concern also why he's sneezing in the class. And Karan Prabhu's video is off is also my concern why his video is off. And Madhvi's first birthday is also my daughter's first birthday. And Sanjukta Mataji's marriage purchases is my marriage purchase also. So, if we live like this, I will tell you, we will create such an example for the entire ISKCON, for the entire world. People will be, demigods will be standing in queue to join our Dasosme family, to experience the happiness of staying spiritually together. And we don't have to do anything. It's not that Pavan Prabhu, if you ask him how marriage things are going on, he will ask, oh Prabhuji, give me 5 lakh rupees. We don't have to do anything. We just have to be concerned. Actually, Krishna will do everything. Krishna will do the marriage of Pavan very nicely. Krishna will take care of the Krishna's education very nicely. Madhav's going to school very nicely. Just if we all of us sincerely pray for each other, ultimately everything is done by Krishna. It's not that Madhav's going to school is done by Kushal Bihari Prabhu. It is actually done by Krishna. Everything is done ultimately by Krishna. That's what Angira Rishi is telling to Chitraketu Maharaj. But if we pray, anyway Krishna will do it. Just like Krishna is telling to Arjuna, you see Arjuna, anyway I am going to kill these fellows. But if you become an instrument, you will be glorious. So similarly, anyway, Krishna loves all of us individually. So Krishna will anyway get things done. Krishna will anyway get Vijay Prabhu's marriage done, Pavan Prabhu's marriage done, and the Prisha's going to school and everything. But if we are concerned and if we are praying for each other, if we are really concerned and knowing about each other, helping each other to become more Krishna conscious in their time of need. Because everyone's spiritual life will go through ups and downs. That's natural. But if we are there for each other, to help each other, then we'll create such a spiritual atmosphere that the entire material relationships, material entanglement will vanish for us. So that's what is required. Let's create an example for everyone to see how is Sri Vrindavan Dham. In Sri Vrindavan Dham, everyone, there are so many families, but everyone considers the other family as his own family. And in that way, there is the bigger family of Sri Vrindavan. Saeva sadhu sukruto moksha dwaram apavritam. And when Krishna sees that all of us individually are staying in this atmosphere of Vrindavan, already in material world, Krishna will tell, why all of you are living in this material world? Sweta, why you are staying here? You are already resident of Sri Vrindavan Dham. Will take you to Vrindavan Dham. It's not nice that you stay in this material world. We'll take you. Because you are already staying as a Brajavasi in this material world. But why to stay in this material world as a Brajvasi. I will take you to Vrindavan and you stay as a Brajvasi. Brajvasi is not one who is staying under a tree in Vrindavan. Brajvasi is a state of consciousness. A consciousness that we are there for each other, to help each other remember Krishna, to help each other serve Krishna better, and to help each other in time of need and in their moments of celebration. So in that way, Krishna will take us all back to Vrindavan and we'll all be together again. There I'll not be giving classes. It's all boring. So classes are really boring. You have to come and attend classes, and I'm I'm understanding how much I'm troubling all of you to come every Sunday morning for the class, and you are all sitting and you have taken bath early in the morning and coming, and Prabhuji has said open the camera and you are all trying to open, some are not able to open, all these jamelas are gone. Sri Nitai Das is just making cow dung cakes, and then you'll be seeing, telling that अच्छा हुआ सेवा में लग गया, class सुनने को नहीं मिल रहा है. And you'll also be engaged in some service. You can milk the cows, and I'll be happy to make cow dung cakes for Radharani to cook for Krishna. And some cow dung cakes and making, and you'll be seeing that, oh Sri Nitai Das, you were giving so many classes, cow dung cakes. No, I'm happy, good, very good. Make cow dung cakes, don't give classes. We are frustrated. So, but in Vrindavan, all of us will have some service, no class, nothing. All of us can give big classes in Vrindavan. So let's all go and really and never come back again from Vrindavan. And if we are always together, Kaliraj can never contaminate our consciousness. Kali creates disunity among devotees. Disunity among couples, quarrel among couples, and quarrel among devotees. So if we are just together, we will be back in Vrindavan. Hare Krishna. How many of you are feeling excited about it? Okay, all of you are raising your hand. Good. So let's see how many of us reach. So all of you are but enthusiastically raising your hand. I am so happy that at least you are raising your hand to go to Sri Vrindavan Dham. And if we maintain this attitude of staying together, helping each other, remembering Krishna, helping each other to remember Krishna, then we'll all go to Sri Vrindavan Dham. Yes, Parul Mataji will have some service, Sweta Mataji will have some different service, and we'll come together in the evening and say, oh, wow, we'll be discussing what all services you did, and I'll be telling today I got such a sauce from Lalita Mataji, Lalita Devi, and I got so much of chastisement. I was making cow dung cakes, but that didn't got dried and it was not burning, and Radharani was upset, and Lalita Devi came and caught my ear and said, Ki, what nonsense, you were giving so many classes there and that's why you have become so proud and that's why you're not making good cow dung cakes. I said, no, from tomorrow I'll learn from other Matajis how to make cow dung cakes. So like this, Sri Vrindavan Dham is such a wonderful, special place. Only thing is that we do not have to offend a Vaishnava, offend Vaishnavas. Is it so difficult? Is it such a difficult qualification required? And in Kali Yuga, Krishna has made it so easy. Just don't open your mouth. Even if something is cooking up in your mind, just keep it closed. That's it. Don't open. At least have that austerity. Just keep it closed. Even if it is cooking inside and burning, not just cooking, it's boiling, it is spilling it out. Yes. I don't want to offend the Vaishnava. That's it. And chant Hare Krishna. If at all it is spilling it out, just Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Never offend a Vaishnava. That's the basic prerequisite, and it's very simple. Always chant Hare Krishna and never offend a Vaishnava, no matter whatever happens. When anyone does anything, let me not offend a Vaishnava. It's so simple. Compared to getting into IIT, compared to getting into big companies, it's so simple. Just don't offend your wife. Just don't offend your husband. Just don't offend, criticize any other Vaishnava. Okay, Hare Krishna, Jai Srimad Bhagavat Ki Jai. So Narad Muni, Angira Rishi introduces Narad Muni, and Narad Muni is going to tell to Chitraketu that I am going to give you a mantra by which you will see Supreme Lord face to face in 7 days. Just imagine the confidence of Narad Muni. In next 7 days, if you chant this mantra directly in front of the Supreme Lord, you will see face to face. So what is that mantra? And how to chant that mantra? And what will happen, Chitraketu, by seeing Supreme Lord face to face? What Supreme Lord will tell? We will see next class. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Sukadev Goswami ki Jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Yes, any question? We have 10 minutes. Yes, Udit Prabhu and Kushal Vihari Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful lecture. One question here. So you gave an example of Chitraketu Maharaj because he is realizing the fact that Sadhu Vani and we should believe into it. But in this world we see, I mean in my experience, Prabhu, there are two kind of people. When they feel such kind of loss, they will keep on cursing Supreme Personality of God, and even if sadhus are approaching them also they will not understand. Then second are a category of people that they will say, oh, it is the Vidhi ka Vidhan, ye to nahi hai, nobody can change it. So Prabhu, are there any way we can help these people, or what kind of, I mean, in your experience, Prabhu, if you can share why they are acting like this, what is the way for them to come out of this sorrow?
When I heard the Chitraketu's story for the first time, I exactly had the same question. I had asked to one devotee who is to come to our IIT Kharagpur boys. Now also he's there in Pune. So he told a very convincing answer. This is way back in 2006 and 7, almost 15 years have passed when I had asked this same question. So he said that if we report and we share and develop attachment with sadhus when things are going well in our life, then we can take the strength of that relationship to share and hear from the sadhus when things are not going well. But if you think, generally in India, when people come to the sadhus, when at the last moment, when things are really not well, and when things are well, they don't go to sadhu. Why? They're fearful. If I tell sadhus that such things are happening, good things, and sadhu will say, give some donation. So that's why they don't go. But when things are going well and everything is happening nicely, if we inform the sadhus and develop a relationship, because that time we are in good mood. And based on the strength of that relationship, when things are going bad, we can actually interact with sadhus and take their guidance and put faith on there and trust in that, because we have built up that trust over the years. But if you just crash land on the to the sadhu's lotus feet when you are in only at the time of difficulty, is very, very unusual. It also happens that people do get attached to the sadhus and attached to spirituality in that time also, but it's quite unusual because your trust has not developed. And generally at that moment, generally people hear the sadhus, and once the situation is all right, then again they tell tata and then they leave. So Chitraketu Maharaj could do like this because he was regularly associating with sadhus. He was regularly associating with sadhus. That's how it is. So we must regularly associate, and then we'll get that, based on the strength of that relationship, we'll be able to take the help of sadhu at the time of distress also. Yes, and that is why it's a custom in India to invite sadhus in all the celebrations, right? In birthdays, in marriages, in all. You may wonder that sadhus are completely detached, why they are being invited in all the places, right? The reason is we develop relationship so that we will invite them and hear from them when we are in great distress, right? They become something like an extended family member, the sadhus, so that we have that relationship with them, and then we can take their help when we really need them most. Yes.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Kushal Bihari Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this very instructive class. My question is, how does a living entity meet a sadhu? Is it by karma, or it is like, because if it is their fortune, then it is there because of the destiny. That means it is karma. Then how many people are there who are not having any time, or they are not at all able to give any time? So what is the problem? Why people are not able to take association of a sadhu?
So karmas cannot make us meet with sadhus, but they can create a platform for us to meet with sadhus. For example, if someone is in Sattva Guna, so then he has very good pious karma. And because he's having pious karma and he's in Sattva Guna, he has a tendency to give charity, he has a tendency to visit spiritual places, he has a tendency to help others. And in the course of helping, someday he may land up in coming to temple and find out in some information that they also need some help. So when he reaches temple and he meets a sadhu, that time also he is giving some material help also. But that creates a spiritual upliftment for that person. So if we say that his pious karma brought him to temple, yes, it is true. If we say that his pious karma brought him to temple, no, it is not true. So both are correct. How it is true? Because it created a platform. He was helping everyone, he somehow helped to temple. But his bhakti awakened only when he came in touch with the sadhu. So bhakti is not dependent on our pious karma, but pious karma can create a platform for us to come to bhakti. And that is why, if people are not interested for hearing spiritual subject matter, at least we can make an attempt of distributing prasadam to them and helping them to come to Sattva Guna. What are Sattva Guna? First thing, helping them to live a regulated life. We tell them, you lead a regulated life, give time to your family, have a regulated diet free of violence to animals, don't take alcohol, don't intoxicate. So these all things will gradually bring a person to Sattva-guna. So sometimes we find certain of our ISKCON devotees also doing some types of motivational speaking and preaching, and we should see them in positive light. So these people are interacting with those people who are not now ready for spiritual subject matter, but helping them to come to Sattva-guna. That is why whatever motivational speech and everything we tell, without introducing Krishna, at least we must introduce the 4 regulative principles in a way that people can digest. We are so happy to see that veganism is becoming so famous and successful, and it's good because if people become vegetarian, their piety will increase. So we must try to find out scientific ways and very good logical ways to convince people at least to come to Sattva-guna, if they are not convinced to take to Krishna consciousness directly. If someone is convinced to take to Krishna consciousness, then we do not have to give all this stuff. And when people come to Sattva-guna, actually their knowledge, their intelligence opens up. They become more receptive to finer emotions. Then they start visiting and helping others. Yes. In Rajoguna and Tamoguna means I and my life, that's it. Sattva-guna means let me help others. And in the course of helping everyone, then they'll land up into some temples, they'll land up into some places where they will meet sadhus. So that is why even if people are not interested for spirituality, it's also the goal of the sadhus, the role of the sadhus, to help people at least come to the higher mode of Sattva-guna. And we can give them unlimited material benefits of Sattva-guna. There are so many non-devotee motivational speakers who are helping people to come to Sattva-guna. But there is no faida, there is no use. But when Gaur Gopal Prabhu speaks about helping people to come to Sattva-guna, it's beautiful because he's putting tilak and he's in saffron and he's a devotee. So as devotees, all of you are grihasthas, you meet so many people, and if you find that people are not interested in spirituality, hearing about Krishna, tell them about Sattva-gunas, the benefits of Sattva-guna, the material benefits of Sattva-guna. The material benefits of regulated lifestyle, the material benefits of taking responsibility of wife, parents, the material benefits of rising early, the material benefits of doing some pranayam, the material benefits of eating a vegetarian diet and not indulging in alcohol, intoxication, not indulging in illicit sex, gambling. Tell the material benefits and tell them how you will become more successful by imbibing these things. And then people will come to the level of Sattva-guna. And then when they come to the level of Sattva-guna, you will see that they will become more receptive to Krishna consciousness. If they are not directly. One way is to first directly try. Srila Prabhupada, in his discussion with Bhakticharu Swami Maharaj, Bhakticharu Swami Maharaj was appreciating Srila Prabhupada so much. Srila Prabhupada was at the end of his life in Vrindavan Dham, just 1 or 2 months was remaining. And Bhakticharu Maharaj was, Srila Prabhupada was feeling that I have not done anything, I could not do anything, I could have done more. And Bhakticharu Swami Maharaj was telling Srila Prabhupada, you did so much, you did so much. None of all acharyas are just to encourage Prabhupada, and all our acharyas are simply so happy with whatever you did. And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, I did, but I could only complete 50%. My 50% will be completed when I will create a platform of helping people to live in Sattva-guna. So that is why these eco-villages, what we are creating, farm communities, what we are creating, and lifestyle changes, what we are creating, some of our devotees are speaking about it. These are actually a part of Srila Prabhupada's desire to help people come to Sattva-guna. We do not have to ensure that the entire ISKCON speaks like this, but some devotees need to. So we are catering. Srila Prabhupada said, I just focused on the 50% of the population who will be directly interested in Krishna consciousness and somehow inspired them to become devotees. But there is the other 50% which you are speaking about, is that they will first have to be transported to a Sattva-guna level, then they will become more receptive to Krishna consciousness. So that is why we should be very, very grateful to these ventures that different sannyasis and the devotees that are taking up, like Govardhan Eco Village. Similarly, there are some farm communities coming in South India, in also in US, in Germany. And many of the devotees are speaking about it, which may not be directly Krishna conscious, which may be speaking about living a more healthier material life centered around Sattva-guna. But it's required. It's scattering that other 50%. And when this other 50%, they are prepared, come to a bit of level of Sattva-guna, they will also become a part of this 50%. Right? So that's how our devotees are working hard. So we must pray for their endeavors. Though we are directly speaking about Krishna and all, but these devotees are actually helping to create a platform where we can directly speak about Krishna. In so many places I have gone and I have heard so many people telling and appreciating Gaur Gopal Prabhu, Jai Setti. Previously they used to appreciate someone else, but now they are appreciating. So we have to understand that because they have started appreciating, they have got some now Sattva-guna. Otherwise they used to appreciate previously different Bollywood and Hollywood actors. Now they are at least appreciating celebrity Gaur Gopal Das. So then we can use that and tell them about Krishna. Right? So everyone is such wonderfully empowered by Krishna to do specific thing and in a specific mission to help ultimately make everyone reach to Sri Vrindavan Dham. The ambulance driver is also very much required. Even if there are doctors, even if there are so many special surgeons, if the ambulance driver is not right, proper, then the person will not reach only hospital. How do you treat him and cure him? So these people like Gaur Gopal Prabhu, Jai Setti, they are like powerful ambulance drivers. They are making sure that those who are really fully in downtrodden condition, pick them in their ambulance and then put them and bring them to hospital, where sannyasis like Jayapataka Maharaj, Radhanath Maharaj, Loknath Maharaj, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, they're waiting as surgeon. So it's a plan. So it's a divine plan orchestrated by Srila Prabhupada. Now, we can think which part you will be there. You will be there in the ambulance driver's side, or you will be there in the hospital. So I plan to remain in the hospital because it's safe. Roads are generally unsafe. Hare Krishna. Did you like the example?
Yes.
Hare Krishna. So let us appreciate wholeheartedly the wonderful preaching that Gaur Gopal Prabhu and Amog Leela Prabhu and all these devotees, Jai Setti and so many other devotees now joining up doing. And they're actually ambulance driver, picking up from the roads people and bringing them to hospital. Right? And the Kirtan parties, they are like running hospitals, Sankirtan parties. So some people don't even join the ambulance because they see that so far, whether, so they don't even join Gaur Gopal Prabhu's program. So for them there is running mobile hospital, Sankirtan party, Rath Yatras. So then they go and give them first aid there only. So then there are Sankirtan parties, the Padyatris. Loknath Maharaj has created such wonderful Padyatras. And then there is Vaishasika Prabhu in US, ISKCON, Silicon Valley. They do book distribution, they do Sankirtans, which is like a running hospital. Not just an ambulance. Because people are sometimes afraid एम्बुलेंस में बैठूंगा हॉस्पिटल में पहुंच पाऊंगा कि नहीं, हम जिंदा रहेगा कि नहीं, बाद में एम्बुलेंस से चिल्लाएगा मारेगा फिर निकल जाए भी सकता है. It also happens. Sometimes people come to these programs, motivational programs, they don't really reach to the hospital of Bhagavad Gita classes. But then there are Sankirtan parties. Hospital has come at your doorstep, in your roads. Right? So in this way, everyone is trying their level best to bring people to Krishna. And some people are so much stooped that they don't worry about hospitals. They worry about their stomach. Then there is food for life. You eat and go back to Godhead. So how grateful we should be to our acharyas, to Srila Prabhupada, and that they have designed such powerful means to catch the rebellious living entity, catch their sikha and pull them to Krishna's lotus feet. And how much we should wholeheartedly, genuinely appreciate each and every one of their endeavors. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Dasosmi Parivar Brind ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpataru vasya kripa sindhu ge vicha. Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo